Hey everybody, welcome back into the video. So, man, there was certainly a lot of chaos in the past 24 hours when it comes to the future of 343 and Halo as a whole. Because people are asking, oh, is Halo, what now? Is Halo gonna die, essentially? No, I think that the hot takes surrounding that were absolutely outlandish. Like, why would Microsoft kill off their biggest IP? You know, the one that put Xbox on the freaking map, as I kind of talked about yesterday. So I think the community needs to chill out a lot, especially in the more toxic members in it. But at the same time though, the future is uncertain, but if all this information I'm about to read you is accurate, it's seeming like it's going to be a very interesting future ahead of us. So without further ado, let's get into it. First off, there is a YouTuber by the name of Late Night Halo where he kind of reported last night something he's heard behind the scenes, seemingly indicating that 343 could be stop making games and essentially license out the IP, and two other sources who we're about to go over, they seemingly have heard similar things. And we're going to first go off with Bathrobe Spartan, who did a whole thread on Twitter. They're natively French, so I used Twitter Translate and did a whole thread and twit longer. I tweeted out, but we're going to be talking about it here as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. So they first start off with, the dismissals within 343 are unfortunately the result of poor management of the studio and its workforce by people in charge. Obviously, this could have been avoided. Its impact on the strategy remains minimal. Multiplayer created content. Before talking about the future of 343, let's talk about the impact on the studio's current strategy, the state of which we've already mentioned to you in our previous threads. If we put aside the very sad human toll of these layoffs, the strategy initiated by 343 in 2022, obviously they misspelled it, I should have corrected that, but whatever, is ultimately only slightly impacted. Produced content from the multiplayer portion of the title, to the detriment of single-player narrative-driven content. As such, these headcount losses will not impact the studio's current plans for Halo Infinite for 2023 and beyond. All content planned for this year, future seasons, modes, and elements are maintained and are not disrupted. This will include all Halo Infinite-related projects being worked on by 343 and external studios. For example, such as Forge, Skybox Labs, maps and content, Spirisoft, modes and elements, Certain Affinity. So that's not the end of Halo Infinite when it comes to multiplayer. So basically, they're sticking to their plan. From what I'm hearing, Season 3 is pretty much done, and Season 4 is actually almost done too. So things are, full scope ahead. I guess if you're a fan of Halo Infinite's multiplayer, got good news for you, that's still sticking around. I play the multiplayer still, so I'm kind of happy about that, because I think multiplayer can be pretty fun in Halo Infinite, although it's very sweaty, I will admit that. But either way though, kind of good to hear, I guess. So about on the multiplayer side of things, but if you're more of a single player fan when it comes to Halo, it's I've got some bad news for you, as we'll kind of get into later. But let's continue. For info, these layoffs are not the only loss of 343. Between this, positions transferred to other teams within Microsoft and the non-renewal of external contractors. Again, that contract nonsense coming back to haunt 343. 343 is actually losing 1/3 of its workforce. My god. On the other hand, these departures are mainly impacting the teams in charge of the production of visual and narrative content for the game, are the result of two divergent visions within 343, the continuation of the narrative universe versus the financial need of the studio. A small team had drawn out the possible plans for the continuation of the Manager 117, obviously referring to Chief, supported by Mr. Staten, then proposing several short DLCs for Halo Infinite, leading to a bigger expansion for the game via a new campaign within it. The new management team of 343, following departure, Bonnie had drawn up another assessment of the campaign and the single-player narrative content offered by Halo Infinite, unfortunately against the latter and rather for the benefit of the multiplayer part. According to these, narrative single-player content has proven to be difficult to produce over the past few years, not offering strong player retention, not allowing viable monetization and sustainability of the studio and the teams. A decision will then have been made not to continue production of narrative single-player content for Halo Infinite or for Halo in general at this stage. So faced with the financial expectations that Halo Infinite did not meet, the leaders of 343 were forced to act. Gee, it's almost as if I've been frickin' saying from day one. The game should have been delayed again, so that, the game would be more complete. Just saying. You could have delayed the game again, Microsoft. You really could have. But the fact that you had to get it out for the holiday season, you should have delayed it a fucking year and haven't launched with co-op and Forge like it should have been. You know, gee, who would have freaking thought? Gee, and you wonder why the player retention has not been doing well, especially on Steam. Just freaking saying. But it's like more popular on the Xbox platform, which is not surprising though. It's kind of always been that way, to be honest with you. But still though, you should have delayed the game again. Gave the team more time to get shit in the game ready for when the game released. You know, like most important things like co-op and Forge. Again, like I said, you had to rush to get it out for the holiday season. You just had to. Ugh, gee, and you freaking wonder why the game has been struggling. Gee, you wonder why. Anyway, continuing. These most are the consequences of several factors. Microsoft's overall preparation for a possible recession. What they mean by that is because they went on a rampant hiring spree, you know, throughout COVID. But now that things are starting to return to normal, so this is kind of as a result of that. The high operating costs of the studio for financial objectives not achieved. Multiplayer focused strategy for the future of Halo Infinite. So like every, you know, Halo multiplayer pretty much after a game release, basically. But Tier 3 isn't going away, however. The game development part of the studio is going to fade away. The projects in the future studio will thus result in a 2-point strategy. Coordinate a Halo Infinite follow-up, franchise the Halo license to other studios. They kind of just repeated the first part on the last part. By keeping several people in charge of product management and balancing Halo Infinite, 343 can delegate content production to external studios, as was already the case for Season 2. As a reminder, a large part of the content of Season 2, whether it's a question of maps as well as elements in the store and the Battle Pass, were designed by Sparrowsoft as well as Third Affinity. This type of production will thus continue for 2023. So they're going to license the IP out, so kind of like how Disney does it with their IPs, such as, you know, Marvel, most notably for, you know, they, you know, license the Spider-Man and Wolverine IPs out to Sony Insomniac. They did Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy Square Enix, 2K with Marvel Midnight Suns, or, you know, the Star Wars licenses like with EA, and now seemingly there's been rumors about some Star Wars games all over the place, like Ubisoft is making one. You kind of get the idea. So it sounds like Steve could follow the Disney approach, where they're going to license the Halo IP out to other studios, which they've kind of already done before. That's kind of like why Halo Wars 2 exists. So if they're going to go in that direction, I'm okay with that. I'll kind of explain that, you know, later. But anyway, to sum up what Bastard Spartan had to say in this thread. Already in 2020, Xbox Publishing had already approached other studios to imagine the design of new Halo experiences delegated but supervised by Xbox Game Studios and 343, so they've already been starting on that, funny enough. But the downside is they lost the talent for producing narrative single-player content. This is the approach that will be favored in the future, allowing other studios to build with permission Halo titles at scale and lower budget. Now, how lower budget that means remains to be seen. Hopefully I assume it'd still be like AAA titles, obviously, because, you know, it's a AAA IP, but whatever. These studios will notably be able to have access to certain resources of 343, including the Slipspace engine. So they're still going Slipspace engine, kind of like the reports are saying, whatnot. You know, when those rumors were debunked about the whole Unreal mess. But anyway, this one property of the studio continues to be updated, perfected, and improved. The studio keeping within them the engineering team in charge of it. This will therefore lead in the future to more Halo video game products, therefore several games which could explore different ideas and approaches to licensing. 343 will then therefore find a place of license manager, as it was during Halo Legends, that anime that was really freaking good. They should do more. Just saying now. Anyway, in summary, the main change to come will be the loss of internal game development capability at 343, the openness to making Halo available as a franchise that can be distributed to outside studios for the creation of new games. Different scenarios had been studied, but in particular the possibility of stopping and purely and simply assigning the license to another studio. The first piece of information we had received, in which this seemed shocking. So in the end, that would not be the case, so this is not the end of 343 and even less of Halo. It is the end of a closed cycle of a new orientation, allowing to refocus the license to open new horizons to it. We were wrong. Halo is not over. And now we got one final source to go through before I kind of give my final take on this, where we have someone who kind of seeming who is corroborating what Bathrobe Spartan is saying as they've heard similar things. So here we go. This is Owens, who is the head of Season Gaming, and also, I guess, is a host of a podcast. Here's what he has to say. Thread on Halo. I was waiting to share this, as they do a good job of breaking it down. From what I can corroborate, the below is accurate. So all the info I just read to you, it's accurate. Halo is certainly not going anywhere, but to realize its potential, the management structure is changing drastically. Wow. So it sounds like, I guess this is more of Microsoft kind of continuing to restructure 343, but so it sounds like there's gonna be more games in the future just by different studios. So I guess depending on how you feel, that's seemingly a good or bad thing. But hey, more games in the future, so I guess that's a win for me. Anyway, let's continue. I see this as the right move long term for Halo's narrative content. I'm glad the plans for Halo Infinite's multiplayer moving forward is already discussed. I'm glad too. Overall, the future is bright for Halo. We'll talk more at Cast Co-op and SG Pitcast in the next couple days. #Halo, peace. So, what's my take on this? Like, wow. So, sounds like more titles are coming in the future, kind of like how Halo Wars 2 came to be in 2017, by Creative Assembly. So, some ideas, I've had this idea for years. I would love if this were to happen now, where there is a Halo game set during the Foreigner Flood War, because like that part of the universe has only been explored in expanded media, but to have a game based on it would be a dream come true for me personally. It would be amazing, and I'm sure for a lot of lore fanatics as well. Maybe like a horror game based on by Tango Gameworks, maybe as an example, or try to think of some other spin-off. I'm sure there's more, maybe like a stealth third-person game or something like that, by a studio who has experience with that, I mean, there's so much potential with the Halo universe. Personally, Microsoft should have been doing this years ago, but it seems like they've kind of realized that. It seemingly have been trying to find studios to do new games since 2020, it sounds like, from what Bathrobe Spartan has been saying. So it sounds like it was only a matter of time before this happened, but man, it's kind of insane that this is what it's come down to, huh? Wow. With all this chaos. Gee, and like people have been saying, like the ex-devs were saying, incompetence of studio leadership. So, or how about like a space combat Halo game, with like, I mean, there's plenty of vehicles that could utilize that in the Halo universe, or even brand new ones, So, I mean, like I said, there's so much potential for the future of the Halo series, and it sounds like based on what we're hearing, I guess with all these sources coming out, it sounds like this is legit. Because we have 3 different sources that are saying the same thing, so I'd say it sounds really credible, but I guess time will tell. But now, if it seems like it seems like this story is going to be developing. But yeah, it seems like Halo is not dead, as people were kind of proclaiming on Twitter yesterday. Like, that was really outlandish. That was so outlandish to me. It really was. Now, I say it looked bad optics, no doubt. But it could be worse, like where games continue to be made with lack of content, like Halo Infinite was. But with other studios like ID Software or Machine Games or whatnot doing single-player campaigns for Halo, oh my goodness, take my money. Take my freaking money. Because with the type of campaigns those 2 studios have done for Doom and Wolfenstein, oh yeah, if they do a Halo campaign, yeah, sign me up. I'll be there for sure. I mean, there's so much more I could talk about in terms of like potential ideas for games. Like I said, the Halo universe has so much potential for other than first-person shooters or RTS. There's so much potential out there. So I think, but all in all, yeah, it sounds like the industry, the future of the Halo series, it's no doubt, going to be very interesting going forward. So yeah, new games are still coming. So yeah, the series is not dead, but it's certainly going to be changing in the long-term future. However, how long that takes, we'll see. But yeah, new games are coming. So the series is not dead. So and this might be for the best, quite honestly. Especially since let's be honest here. Thieves reception, fans' reception to Thieves games have not been as high as the Bungie games were, but with new talent from new studios, that could change, where newer games are kind of looked at more fondly, and the Halo IP could reach new heights now, but time will tell on that one. But anyway, I think that's all I gotta say really about this video. So what do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below, and if you like this video, hit that like button and consider hitting that sub button so you do not miss any more videos, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, have a good one.